time is. No, you don't get it right. You don't. Nothing.
No,
you gave me
I
no
was on
energy.
Facebook telling everybody.
I'm so proud of you. Listen, so let me tell you something. You want to hear something for real?
What?
Like, what do you think about the intro music, right?
It's alright.
No, intro music just no.
I like the original intro music.
Oh, that was so bad.
No, I like the original.
This music.
I didn't get that.
You didn't see me dancing.
I was sending the text.
And so you couldn't see all of this body heat.
I was sending my head. I was sending the text.
Even when I'm sending a text, I see what you're doing. How was your day, handsome?
No. It was good.
Can I have some energy? Like, come
on. I got it. I'm just saying it was long. It was a long day, and we got it taken care of. You know what I'm saying?
It has been a long week, right?
No.
Yeah. It's been a long week.
And it's only at the middle of the week.
Yeah, it's only at the middle of the week. It's been a long week. And I have something to say about our long week that we've had.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out, do I say it in front of our guests or do I just say it to you?
Come on.
You're giving me no energy.
I'm not saying I don't know what you're gonna say.
Listen, if you guys missed her last week, the things that happened and he says to me, if you missed her last week, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to intro and I'm going to bring her in. You go do what you have to do. You have 1 minute, 60 seconds. But is it more than what I'm thinking?
No.
No. I'm going to bring her in because she is such.
All right, come on, let's get to
it. She's such a beautiful. You don't tell people what you're going to do. Just go do it.
No.
She's such a beautiful human being. Dr. Shanna, and like I really feel like last week we connected on Love, Business, and Like I was saying earlier, because today has been a very long day for us. Understand this is a marathon. Go ahead, you could be doing what you got to do while I'm talking. It has been a marathon. We had to film something else before because, as many people know, we have a OTT streaming system, and so now we're back in the season where people want to do interviews, and all week long that's what we've been doing. Actually, 3:00 this morning, I had to do an interview for us because we had forgot to do it, or whatever the case may be. But we don't just talk about love and relationships. We also talk about business, and we talk about life. Last week, at the premiere of season six, we had this wonderful, beautiful spirit. And I felt like, even though I had somebody booked for today, that I wanted to bring her back because I didn't feel as though that we got everything.
So who'd you cut?
That's between me and the email.
Okay.
So with that said, I just want to bring Dr. Shanna in, and I'm going to chat with her a few minutes and moments while you go and do.
Doc, what's up?
What's up? Hey.
I just noticed I don't have my hat on. I see this big yellow head.
But I love looking at you.
I don't have. See, but
I love
looking
so
at
different
with
face.
a hat on.
I feel like it just adds something. I feel like it hides.
I just feel like it adds something.
I feel like it hides.
You know, the hat is part of the whole.
I feel like it hides.
The look.
That's why I'm bald though, because I was wearing a hat for so long. It started messing up my hair.
You have something that you need to do real quick.
It started messing up my hair.
Can you go do it, please? Thank you. I have to send him out the room real quick. So first and foremost, how was your week? And thank you for agreeing to come back.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. As you said, I think last week was great. The energy was great. So when I got the communication to come back, I was like, yes, and yes. My week was full. Right? When I say full, just busy, but full with a lot of positive energy and momentum. And it's like it's Wednesday again, right? Like Wednesday
It's
again.
right. It's Wednesday
Yes,
again.
again, and time is just moving. But I'm one of those individuals that choose to not allow time to control me. I control my time, so I utilize my time to the best of my ability and my resources. So yeah, again, I'm happy to be here.
I will tell you a lot of things that you said last week. I actually utilized those things, and it's crazy because I found myself utilizing them in situations that came about in work, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and so let me just so I'm about to put a comment up because one of the best publicists in the world,
Mhm.
Shawnee. Looked
Yes.
up and saw that she had commented. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for her. And so I had a really trying week, right?
Mhm.
I had a really trying week, and I'm not sure if you heard backstage when we were in the intro, and I was saying, and I was pausing. I was like, Jay, I got something to say to you. I don't know if I want to say it now or if I want to say it when our guest comes on, but I'm gonna say it to him once he comes back. You know, because I believe, and I think I shared this with you last week. One of the things that I think that we as African Americans suffer from, women, we don't always tell our men when they do the right thing. You know,
Right.
we can always talk about what they don't do, what they haven't done. I Right before we came on, I was telling you what he didn't say. Right. But we don't we don't do the best job at
Mhm.
positive affirmation, you know.
Right.
And he tells people a lot that he is my biggest cheerleader, you know.
Mhm.
And I must say that I never can question that, you know.
Mhm.
There are moments that where people believe that I am the strongest person in the world,
Mhm.
that they don't get to see the meltdown that he has to deal with, you know.
Right.
And he came perfect in
I'm
time.
sorry.
No, I'm saying you're perfect for what I'm talking about, you know. And a lot of times people don't get to see the meltdown, right?
Right.
Well, sometimes I feel like they need to, because sometimes I feel like people think it's funny, because I was thinking about a post that I saw you post that I'm superwoman, right?
Mhm.
And as much as I would love to be her, right? I
Mhm.
am not, you know.
Right.
And as strong as I am, I have weaknesses. And
Yes.
from the time we actually spoke with you, when
Mhm.
I tell you so much life happened in
Yes.
our lives, not business, life happened in our,
Mhm.
that, it was just, whew,
Right.
with that said, I say all of this to say that I want to say publicly um, to Jay, and there's no question because I tell him all the time how I feel about him. But I want to say publicly, like, I appreciate you so much. You, the last 3 days, let's not even go a whole week. Let's not even go 3 days. Let's go the last 24 hours. The last 24 hours, you have had so much on your shoulders to deal with as 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 pertaining to me and keeping me together. And when I say, I just don't even know. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if anybody else would deal with it, right?
Mhm.
Not that we were arguing with each other, not at all.
Right.
But it was at a point that 3 o'clock this morning, I just sat there and I was like, I am so grateful for this man that God has given me,
Mhm.
because he carried some stuff that I don't know that anybody else would have been able to carry, you know.
Mhm.
And he had to be my boyfriend, he had to be my business partner, he had to be my therapist, he had to like really deal with some family stuff that we were dealing with. Like very close friend of mine is in hospice. And then we
Mhm.
had to deal with another situation of someone that we care about, that's dealing with some stuff. And there were moments that I just said to him, Jay, I am having a hard time processing.
Mhm.
And it went from him understanding that I was having, well, no, it went from him saying, okay, yeah, I get it, to him saying, you know what, I know, baby.
Mhm.
And just like, and it's not always what you say, but how
Right.
you say it.
Right.
And it was in those moments that when I wanted to, and I'm gonna tell you, I will say this, and he'll probably fuss
Mhm.
at me for saying this, but there were moments when I said, I don't want to be a publicist no more. I don't want to
Mhm.
deal with human beings no more. All I want to do is do what I do that supports our brand. I don't want to deal with anything else. Man, you can have it. I'm done. I'm done with humans. But it was in those moments of comfort from him
Mhm.
that it really, really, really made me realize, man, for lack of better words, forget these people. You
Mhm.
are who you are. You're great at and he kept reinforcing it. He kept saying, you're good at what you do. You're great.
Right.
Like, listen, like, nah, you did what you were supposed to do. And I would say to him, Jake, how am I more accountable than the other people in the situation? And he was like, I know. And so
Mhm.
I say all of this. I know there was a lot, but I say all of that because I want to say to you, and I say it all the time, man, yeah, I love your dirty drawers, even though you don't have any, because we make sure they stay clean. But, you know, thank you for who you are. Thank you for what you do. And thank you for just being a stand up individual outside of anything else that has to do with us
Mhm.
as a couple, us as business. Just thank you for just being a stand up human because there's not a lot of them out here.
I
Right.
appreciate it, and it's the same thing that we talk about. I try to treat you how I want you to treat me, or I try to treat
Mhm.
I'm gonna treat you how I want to be treated. And
Right.
um, not everybody has the same outlook, the same vision, the same. Just they don't. And we talked about a whole bunch of things on the podcast last week. We talked about accountability. We talked about you know, we talked about accountability. We talked about transparency,
Mhm.
and we just talked about
Opinions, remember?
um, you know, uh, giving people opinions. We talked about emotions. We talked about just being a stand-up individual and dealing with folks how you want them to treat you, and um, all of these things are things that we've learned, or I've learned along the way, and just dealing with business. Period.
Right.
She can, have a meltdown because the meltdown is usually not in front of the camera. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
mine had always been even in front of my, I'm always in front of a microphone or a camera, so I wasn't able to, you know, if I had a bad day, my listeners they ain't deserve that. They ain't deserve they didn't they didn't wasn't part of the bad day. They don't care about that.
Right.
So
Right.
that's how I was really able to kind of maneuver, and that's why I learned these things. They don't. I got a job to do. They don't care. When I
Right.
was on the radio, they were trying to. I was the guy to help them escape whatever they were dealing with during their workday.
Mhm.
And so I mean, all of those things, and she's very stand up, and it's funny. Like I'll deal with y'all. I mean, like women, because you guys seem way more stand up than most of these. Most of these males sometimes, and
Mhm.
that is that's it. I mean, you can't be mad at people for what they don't know, but
Right.
uh,
You can't be mad at people for being
yeah,
who they are authentically,
so
Correct.
even
it's all right.
if it's messed up.
So I just want to say thank you for sharing that, because in you sharing that, not only are you lifting him up to make him aware of how important he is in your life and the role that he plays. But one word came up for me in listening to you share, and the word was intimacy. See, in relationship, people tend to think about that physical intimacy as the connection. But what you said was that emotional intimacy, the mental intimacy. And I often say intimacy, well, that's into me, you see. You see me enough.
Right, you
You
kind of
care
slick.
about
No,
me.
you got to slick with that. You got to slick with that guy.
Right.
you hold me in this space that you see into me. So when I have that meltdown, you get to pull it all together. When I am in that space where I just don't know, you get to be my comfort. You get to be my light. You get to be the light that lights me. You get to be my peace. So in everything you said, for me, the one word is intimacy. And there are so many relationships that actually lack that piece because, again, our minds go to that physical connection.
Right.
But as I said, I flip the word, yes, all the time. Intimacy, into me, you see.
Right.
And when individuals can be in that space with each other, oh my, what a wonderful thing.
And you
And
know
as
what?
you just shared, a
I'm sorry.
wonderful thing.
You know, it's funny as I'm talking to you, as you're speaking, I'm thinking about sometimes because she's working so hard on certain stuff,
Mm-hmm.
not able to move. Sometimes I'm able to move, right? So even today, I was able to squeak out 15 minutes to go to the gym. She wasn't, right? So that's still on her. You know what I'm saying? That's still on her. So I can't not be there when she needs me because she's handling ish that I can't handle myself. And she might not be able to move around because it's stuff that need to be handled. You know what I mean? So I may have an outlet. I may have a glass of bourbon. I may be able to smoke a cigar. I may be able to go to the gym and do some pull-ups or lift some weight or whatever the case may be when she's not able to do that. So I gotta stand 10 toes down. I just gotta do what I gotta do in order to, because she would do the same. You know what I mean? And as I'm thinking about that, I really was just kind of really putting that together. I was taking care of some other family business in the middle of what was going on. And I walked away maybe about 10 times. You know what I mean? I walked away maybe about 10 times to make sure to have her back and help step in and handle the situation that we were dealing with, because she didn't deserve that. She stood 10 toes down. You know what I mean? She really didn't deserve that. And what kind of goofy guy would I be? Because that ain't the word I want. The guy part wasn't the word I wanted to use, but I would be goofy not to stand.
Right.
And I ain't perfect neither, but you know what I'm saying? But, I gotta do what I want her to do and try to vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got it.
I apologize.
Absolutely. I love it. Love it.
I apologize. But that's it. And this particular thing has consumed our being for some time. And it's okay. We made it. We made it through. Pain is temporary anyway. So
Absolutely. Yes, it is. Yes.
we made it through.
And in all things we do, life continues to life, but you get to be clear and understanding that everything happens on purpose for a purpose. Right. So if you can understand that everything happens on purpose, nothing happens just because it happens. It's on purpose for a purpose.
And to double back on that and to piggyback on that, I was having a conversation with my family while we were dealing with what we
Mhm.
were dealing with and something that I'm dealing with personally. I said, I didn't get it the first, I must didn't get it the first time.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't get it the first time. So God put me back through it, which I
Right.
am actually currently going through right now. Because maybe I did not get it the way I was supposed to get it. And
Yep.
that's okay. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Maybe I'm supposed to be frustrated to make sure I move a certain way to handle what I'm supposed to handle. So
Right.
we are firm believers in that as well. We're firm
Yes.
believers in that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
that's the thing. What you got?
I had a lot, but I didn't. I don't want to. I don't think I want to talk about
All right.
it because I wanted to know what I wanted. So I'm gonna tell you what I was thinking when you were talking. I was thinking about what you were saying, right?
Mhm.
Because I think that in my mind, right, without going into detail, so that's why I was trying to really process it through my head.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't think that you didn't learn the lesson the way you were supposed to learn it the first time. I don't think that's it. And I've said this to you several times before. I don't think that's what it is. I think that sometimes we always want to control the narrative, right? And
Mhm.
Doc, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian, straight up
Right.
and down.
All
I'm a
So
right.
Christian.
you're
I'm a,
Christian up here.
you didn't
No,
let me
I'm
finish my
playing.
statement.
I'm playing, man.
And so
Right.
I say that to say, like everything I do and how I move, is based off of my belief in Christ. And
Mhm.
I don't believe that God allows us to go through the same situation because we didn't learn it the correct way. I
Mhm.
believe that when you go through a situation one time, right, it's for those lessons. When you go through it again, it's for that set of lessons, right? And
Mhm.
when you look at how your life was one time as opposed to how your life was this time, what you have to realize is that he takes us through the things that he takes us through so that we can maneuver the way we're supposed to. But sometimes he takes us through it the way he does because we're so busy trying to control the narrative that we do not allow, and you know what I'm about to say, we do not allow God's will, but we want to control it. And being a consistently consistent human being as you are,
Mhm.
that maybe you being consistently consistent in the way that you do certain things, when God puts other people in your life or other things in your life, and they're trying to show you how to do something a different way, maybe what it is that you got, maybe it's not that you didn't learn the lesson that he had for you that first time, because I believe that you did. Maybe what he's saying to you is let go and
Mhm.
watch what's around you.
Mhm.
Because I will be honest with you, I know exactly what he's talking about, right? And I wasn't there
Mhm.
the first time, right?
Right.
But I know the people that were, I know everybody that was surrounding him, right?
Right.
And he is so different,
Okay.
that human being that he was then,
Mhm.
to who he is now, right? A lot of lessons, he's grown up a lot more maturity,
Right.
um, everything, growth, right? And in his growth process, God has allowed the tree to continue to grow up, but
Right.
all of the dead leaves he's let fall off, right?
Mhm.
And so what I'm saying is, in the time that we've been together, and I'm not talking about business, let's talk about relationship, okay?
Right.
Let's go into relationship. So we are going into the third year of being together, right?
Mhm.
And so in the 3 years that we've been together, I've watched him grow.
Right.
Okay. But in the 3 years that we've been together, you would have thought that we've been together for way longer than that, because
Mhm.
everything that a relationship could go through, we have gone through, right?
Right.
So I say all of this to say to you is, don't say that you didn't learn the lesson and you didn't learn the lesson way you were supposed to last time, because you learned the lesson the way you were supposed to. You learned the lesson the way God wanted you to have it. That's why you were able to come out of that lesson and go into this season and do some things a lot differently than what you have done. right? The mind, your thought process, everything is so much mature. You're not out here gambling money or loosely. Every single thing that you have thought and every single decision that you make, I watch you think through it. I watch you say, hey, baby, this costs too much. We shouldn't do this. Hey, this doesn't make sense. So we shouldn't do that. That is growth. That is maturity. Those are lessons that you learn from the other situations. So what I cannot ever say, or what I will not ever allow you to do is beat yourself up or put something on you that doesn't belong.
So I'm the most, and we're very transparent when we on here.
Right.
I'm sorry, Dr. Shauna.
No, that's fine.
No, so,
I apologize.
It's all right. It's nothing to apologize about, because what is being talked about is what is wanted and needed in this moment.
Right.
It is wanted and needed right now. So we're going to talk about it.
Right. And really, I'm really super transparent.
And we have a life coach.
Yeah, and I lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
When I gambled heavy. Like I'm super competitive. Like
right.
If right now, if it's a trash can and a piece of paper, I'm going. We can go back and forth. Who's the best, shooter with the piece of paper?
Side note: who beat you in your first competition? Me. Thank you. Okay, go ahead. As a baby, Go ahead. Continue.
She won a baby contest because the pastor is her father. That's why she lost. She won the baby
in the same
contest.
baby contest.
And I told her father that, but this ain't what I'm saying. I was a heavy gambler.
Okay.
Like when they bought casinos in Maryland, heavy gambler, a lot of cash on me. I had, I'm a heavy gambler. I like it. I like the energy of a casino, and I like to win. So I want to take it from you. I want to take it from you. And it was all gas. Well, I had a little breaks because at that time, I was in another relationship. I was with my ex-wife, so at least it was a little bit of a filter there.
Okay.
Right? It's a little bit of filter there. I leave. When I leave, there's no filter, and I move closer to the casino. It wasn't on purpose. It just where I was able to get this nice apartment. I went up 2 lights, got on this highway. A mile later, got on this highway. 5 minutes later, I was at the casino.
Okay.
I was at this club, got paid a lot of money, and leaving that club, I had to go past the exit in that casino. So my car just would kind of just go to the casino by itself. And it was all gas, no brakes. It was, okay, I went to the casino. I got about 1,200-1,300 cash. I gamble 800-900. I'll get it back. Then I'll go take the rent money. Most of the rent money's in the closet. I take that, go back, and gamble again. Now I'm down. And I just never learned the lesson. It was just a cycle. You know what I'm saying? It was just a cycle. Nobody got paid but the casino. You know what I'm saying? When I get the, now I hit, but I got a big hit, but now I got this big hit and I'm behind and everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
This was all going cycle. And I felt like COVID reminded me of that cycle financially. You know what I mean? Financially for me, because most of my money comes from outside in the street. And I just felt like what COVID put me through reminded me of that. So I was like, maybe I didn't learn my lesson properly the first time. So that's when COVID happened. And then I went through what I went through with COVID.
You see why I said, Dr. Shauna?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how my mind, I don't know. That's how I'm wired anyway. Because I'm definitely accountable for, my ish. And if we are, like, for anybody looking, if COVID didn't show you that there's supposed to be multiple streams of income,
right?
You know what I mean? So if this stops because of COVID, that should never stop. And that's what it be. And I felt like from that first, with that gambling issue, I never should have been in a point where I didn't have, So
So I
I'm
want
sorry.
Dr. Shauna to really delve into it as a life coach that she is,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
But before you do, I want to make one statement, right?
Yes.
And that's simple, and it's not even long. It's not even deep. Throughout the pandemic, we moved to another state, Atlanta, Georgia, right? Throughout the pandemic, we've had a roof over our head.
Mhm.
We've eaten at great restaurants.
Mhm.
We've traveled all over the country, right? And honestly, honestly, whenever we found ourselves against the wall, it was always taken care of. So that's why I know two things. One has nothing to do with the other. Two,
Right.
God, if we weren't living right and doing the right things, God would not even keep us. Okay, I'm
Right.
sorry, Dr. Shauna. There you go.
No, no, no. Thank you. And thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much for your transparency, right? Because as I said, as individuals are watching and individuals are listening, what is being talked about is what is wanted and needed in this space at this moment. And I would say, just from, being a life coach, I would say whenever you are triggered back to say, I didn't learn my lesson. No, you learned the lesson, because in every experience, there's a learning experience. So you learned that lesson. But what you get to release is going backwards and saying, I didn't learn my lesson. See, every time you say, maybe I didn't learn my lesson, you're stuck in that space of the past. You're dwelling in that space of the past, right? And whenever you get it's just like being stuck. So you're stuck right there. When something happens, oh wow, I didn't learn my lesson. I didn't learn it's triggering you back to a space where you've come so far from.
Right.
So you get to leave that where it's at, and let every experience be its own experience. Let's not measure everything by the same bar. And that's something that we often as individuals get stuck doing. We go through one experience, we want to pinpoint, oh, that's why. We go through another experience, oh, that's why, because that happened back then and here it's happening again. No, we are learning as we grow. Every experience takes us to the next level, right? The
Right.
thing is, when we learn something, we get to be different, to do different, to then have different, right? So you learn, you be different, you learn, you do different, to then have different. But don't allow yourself to be in that space to look back and say, oh, I didn't learn. Oh, I'm stuck, right? I didn't learn. No, you learned something from it, right? Let that go and be okay with that casino experience and spending that money. Let that be that experience. Let COVID and the things that created for a lot of us be that experience,
Right.
and own each one, right? As its separate entity. Because when you start to connect them, then you start to cause beat up. Because now you're trying to be in control, making the connections. I did this, I did that. That's why that didn't work. Oh, because I did that 10 years ago. And now this not working because I did that 10 years ago. But clearly you're doing something different because you're not in the same space that you was in 10 years ago. Let 10 years ago be 10 years ago,
Right.
and let today be today.
Gotcha.
And whatever happens tomorrow, well, hey, that was tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow.
Right.
We get to move past it, but you got to be okay with moving past it.
Right.
And you got to understand that what that was, let that be. Whatever it is now, let it resonate and let it be.
Right. Got it.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I'm gonna say one last thing, and then Dr. Shauna, the floor is yours.
Yes.
Then I'm gonna give the floor to you. The last thing that I want to say is some things that you said were pinpoint and so true. And you don't know anything about any of our integral details
Mm-hmm.
of our living, period. And I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about like situations, things, opportunities, and things like that. And what you said was you can't say that one experience is just that, it's an experience.
Yeah.
You cannot think that they mimic, because you're
Right.
holding on to something from the past. And
Right.
so what I will say to you, to James now, and when I call him James, I'm talking to a whole different person.
Yeah.
But I will say to you, James, is this: I hope you really heard and took in what she said, because we've had there's an opportunity that just keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I really got to the bottom of it because he was talking to someone else. What he said was he had a bad experience from something that could have kind of sort of been similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I offer this according to what she said. I hope that you really heard it, because again, I keep telling you, I don't feel like God keeps presenting this opportunity unless it really is the opportunity for us. One. Two, you can't compare the two.
Right.
Because an experience is just that. An experience is an experience. Each and every one thing that we say about each other, and this is something that we really say, can't another female tell me how Jay Claxton is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that experience. That was your experience with him. That don't have nothing to do with me.
Right.
That's not my business. Hey, if it predates X, Y, and Z date, you know. And it's the same thing with life, and it's the same thing with opportunities.
Yes.
Keep comparing, oh, this happened here, and this may be similar to this, because if you really sit and look yourself in the mirror, and you sit and look us in the mirror, and you sit and you think about it, everything in this new opportunity that we've been presented, everything that you've asked for, they've given us.
Mm-hmm.
And the only hindrance has been you. So what I mean by that is, I understand the consistency and being consistently consistent, but sometimes we can't control. When we try to control God's will, hinder our will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dr. Shanna, I really
and that's absolutely right. So the one thing I will say again is, let each experience be its own. Do not measure them.
I'm sorry,
as soon as you touched it,
knock down.
As soon as you touched it, I said, "Man, it's grateful." As soon as you touched it.
Thank you, baby.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this is great conversation. It's fantastic and amazing. And you guys have been so transparent tonight and just sharing, right? Like a little bit of past, things that are going on in the present. And I am just curious to know, when did you guys first meet? Because I know you said 3 years ago, but like,
no. I said we got together in a relationship 3 years ago. When did we first meet? I don't know if you want to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, give me brief highlight.
Baby, when we first met, he was in the club and he ignored me. Okay. He says it didn't happen. Okay. Such a lie. He was arrogant. And I told him that I didn't like that Jay. I didn't like the Jay Claxton. I have witnesses how rude he was.
I'm never arrogant. It's not how I move.
Okay.
I am in public relations. I'm not a PR. I'm not a PR person, but I deal with the public. I can't be arrogant to the public. I'm nothing without the public. So that's not necessarily true. You got the floor. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So then we rekindled at our kids' school.
Okay.
And I came back in town. I came back to Maryland, and Jay said he needed help. You got the floor.
Yeah, I mean, in business, I was at a ceiling.
Okay.
That's lies.
Okay.
In business, I was at a ceiling.
And
and I happened to see her, and I'm like, yo, I need some help. Help.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's that transparency. You know what I'm saying? And even before I really realized I was being transparent, I need some help. Can you help? Because I'm here. I'm too talented not to get through this ceiling and keep going.
Right.
And I guess a little bit of somebody coaxing. What's the word? Like just
that really was what it was, because I told him no. I told him no. We're both from the same hometown. We're both from Baltimore, Maryland, and
Right.
both grew up.
Baltimore.
We both grew up, in the
Right.
industry. Me being on the television side, him being on the radio side, and
Right.
I left. I left and worked everywhere else, and really never had a really great dealings with people from Baltimore. I didn't really feel like they got it because
Got it.
Baltimore is a big small town, right?
Mhm.
And everybody thinks they know everything, but
Mhm.
they've never been outside, you know,
Mhm.
440
Mhm.
to 301 to 240 to 667. And so I had never encountered working with someone
Got
from
it.
home. And long story short, like he said, very dear and near friend of mine, who's now deceased, along with the person who actually hired him in radio, who's actually a great friend of mine, was
Mhm.
like, he has what it takes. Help him, watch it, and then watch what happens once you guys get together. Actually, they foresaw us being together as a couple, so that
Okay.
all happened. Apologies, 10. So that all happened 8 years ago. Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, that happened 8 years ago.
She was what,
She's
three.
three.
Because
Okay.
that school she was in, she won two in that school
She was three.
at least.
Okay. So that happened 7 years ago, right? And
Mhm.
then as time came, the first, I'll never forget because I actually heard him repeat this one time in an interview. The first conversation we had with each other, I said, listen, if you really want me to do this, I'm going to have to be all in your business, all in your.
Mhm.
I will need to know everything. And I don't know, maybe I slipped in a little bit too far, and here we are
Right.
now.
Well, it sounds like it was the connection came like from the business perspective, right? And then it grew into what it is now. Well, share, when did you each know that you were the one? Like, when did you know he was the one? Jay, when did you know she was the one? Like,
That's a question for her.
uh,
That's a question for her, Doc.
When did I know he was the one?
yeah, or
Ac-
and vice versa. Yeah.
Actually, I want to hear his answer, right?
No, it's a
I think
question
I
for
know
you.
your answer though.
It's a question for you.
When did I know he was the one? I knew he was the one. Actually, 3 years into it. It was
Okay.
we were still business.
Business.
I knew. And I told him.
Mhm.
Like I straight told him. He was like, no, no, I don't want to do that. That. I told him. So when did I know? I knew. He knew. He knew, but he fought it, right?
Right.
And I know that he knew because Dr. Shauna, the way that this man treated me as his business partner,
Mhm.
you would have been like, come on now, Jay. Like, I mean, you may act like this not what you're gonna do, and you may be out there twinkling around doing this, that, and the third, but that's who you want to be with. He
Right.
fought it hard. But I would say that if you were to ask me, I knew maybe like a year and a half into it, like
Okay.
really a year and a half. And interesting enough, you talk about connection, and even though it is perceived that the connection came initially, I'm sorry, from the business aspect, if you really know our true story, that's not where the connection came.
Okay.
Um, if you remember, I hinted to I was his first competitor.
Yes.
They cheated me.
My dad is a Baptist pastor, right? Nationally
Okay.
known. My dad is a nationally known Baptist pastor, right?
Right.
Well, the church that my dad was at when we were little, what's wrong?
So they said he cheated me.
No, he did. The church that
Him and his church folks
the
cheated me.
church was actually his family. The church that my dad pastored before his current church, my dad
Mhm.
got there because Jay's mom's step grandmother got my dad in that church.
Okay.
Okay. So that's one. That's one. We found this out all during COVID from Jay's mom, right? And my
Got it.
dad is how we found out the complete story. My dad and Jay's grandmother on his dad's side have been friends for years. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the tie. Jay and I are born a day apart. I'm a year and a day apart because I'm a year older.
Right.
And but my dad is the pastor that christened Jay.
Okay.
So the connection was always there.
Always there.
God
Yeah.
was just waiting for us to come back around to each other.
Correct. Correct.
Well, that's
Okay.
what got cheated out the contest.
That's not why. It was his step grandmother who sponsored me in the baby contest.
Best baby
How about
contest.
that? No, it was his people that sponsored me. They didn't even sponsor your little bald head self.
So ultimately, it just in you guys sharing, it just really sounds like, well, it was meant to be, right? And then again, in the adulting that we do, we are trying to be in control of things, right? Not wanting to, let's say, Jay, admit that you ready, but not trying to admit it again, being in control. It was already destined, right? That's what it sounds like.
Well, I don't know, because I have control issues. I'm saying I don't know. I just have control.
Wait
issues.
a minute. Can
saying.
Somebody please record that he just said that?
I just, I don't want you to drive.
Can I record this?
I can drive.
Can I record
it? Got it.
Yeah, I got it. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
at least you know you have it. You have admitted it.
You're right.
I don't know.
Some of it's going to change. I'm working.
Yeah, and you get to listen. You get to release it a little by little. It may feel uncomfortable, but you can release it.
So again, like I said before in the other conversation, I'm going to give you your credit, right? I'm not going to allow you to dumb down. You have changed tremendously.
And it's funny. I'm an only child, and I act nothing like that. Might be the only thing.
Yeah,
got it.
That you can make. Well, it might be because I want to control it. I will give you the shirt off of my back. I will give you anything. I will give you money.
You have changed.
I'm so giving. I'm so giving, and I think that everybody carries it like me. I'm not really like me. I just never been me. I just because all my friends was outside, so it wasn't me. I learned how to move accordingly. But I do probably have some control issues. Not issues, but I like to be in control. Like
I don't think you like to. I don't think you have any issues. So let's just
let's not label it as issues. I would call it because I would call it a characteristic. I have the ability to want to be in control, right? And it shows up at different times. And I can say, like my husband, he's an analyzer. That's his characteristic. He likes to analyze things. So I don't really call them issues or challenges or weaknesses or limitations. They are characteristics because sometimes we can't get rid of them, right? They are a part of us. It's really understanding them and really understanding when they serve us best. Right? When to step back from being in control and allow others to be that analyzer, the supporter, right? There's different roles we play for different reasons. But when you're clear on it, you get to balance it and know when it serves you best. So now I'm going to segue into another question, right? Because you guys have shared a lot to business, personal. How do you balance it all? Like when does the switch ever come off? Where it's just no business, it's just personal. When do you get to create that?
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, it's funny because before we did our own podcast, we had a similar conversation in somebody's podcast that we were on as the guest. And personal still turns into business, unfortunately. And I'm okay with that because I love what we do. That is part of the reason why we're entrepreneurs. We don't necessarily work for anybody and that sort of thing. So it never ever really stops. We're not at a point. We are working to get to that point where we can have other people working, and this is set up. The model is built, and all right, we can trust that everything is good and we can take a step back and work on the next project.
Mm-hmm.
We still aren't quite there yet in a lot of business endeavors. So it even when we out personal, business comes up.
Okay.
It does. I mean, it's just,
Got it.
you know,
Got
and if we didn't, you know, if we didn't love what we do, we wouldn't be able to cope. And you know, sometimes doing business with people, it tends to make it hard to cope. And we've
Not with each other,
not
but
cope with each other, but cope with just regular
Yes.
business. But
Right.
you know, like
your birthday, we didn't talk about business.
no, we didn't. We didn't.
See,
Well, Valentine's Day is coming up. What do those plans look like? Will it business on Valentine's Day? Like, just curious.
That's not what the plan is going to be. But I'm just being honest. Like,
Right.
you know, that's not what the plan is going to be. But who,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we have been consumed recently with even more. Like every conversation has been about business, and I'm just kind of recently.
Let's do a challenge. Dr. Shanna, you want to do a challenge?
Sure, we can do a challenge. What's the challenge?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Our challenge is that 24 hours.
24.
We don't talk about business.
Now I'm going now come on now.
Now you see me looking
right now. I'm a life coach. Let's see. Now, my question would be, is it reasonable? Meaning, is it reasonable?
For 3 hours? For 3 hours.
See what I mean? Right. So whenever we want to live in committed action, we also get to choose to be reasonable and be responsible around it, right? So I'm if you guys do this every day, right, and all the time, and it can shift, personal business, what you get to do is set the intention, right? You set the intention to say, we will not talk about business for 3 hours today.
All right. That makes a lot more sense, Doc. Okay, I'm 24.
I changed it from 24 hours.
I'm good. I'm just because that wasn't going to happen.
24 hours.
Like we could say 24 hours a day. Something fell through this week, so I have something else to do that I do on a regular basis. She comes with me. We're going to talk about it.
Right.
Because we're together.
Right.
And so it just happened. So I like the 3 hours.
Yeah, and again, it's all about setting the intention, being responsible, being reasonable, right, with the intention. And then listen, and if the 3 hours doesn't happen, that's okay. But you know what your heart's intention was. Right? And that's the thing, because you're leading with the intention from your heart. So there's no beat up if you don't make the 3 hours.
Right.
But then you get to apply it into practice, where this may be something you begin to set the intention to do at least every day. For 90 minutes, we will not talk about business. We will talk about us, because as we talk about us, we're strengthening us. Strengthening us is strengthening the business.
So maybe we should look into trying to take one day off where it's only about us. Moving forward.
We just said 3 hours. Let's go from 3 hours.
You're missing what I'm saying to you.
All right.
I'm not talking about the challenge. I'm saying moving forward.
Yes.
Maybe we should.
That's a goal.
Yes.
All right. I like that as a goal.
Set the goal and declare the goal.
Everything is a process.
Declare the goal will happen, right?
Process.
Right. It's a process.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It is.
Because
but see, the thing is, the 3 hours are those action steps.
Right, yeah. That's part of the process.
So you get there.
Process.
Right.
You can't. Skip the process.
This boy is silly.
You can't, guys. Everything. We can't skip it.
No,
You know what
no.
I'm saying?
Listen, there's only one way to eat an elephant, piece by piece. Take this piece by piece.
Oh, I never thought about that like that. I was like, oh,
the elephant was a little.
The elephant was a little odd.
I ain't gonna lie,
But think about it. It's like elephants are like huge, monstrous things. And sometimes it's the small things in our life that we make so big that we cannot go through the process of accomplishing it.
Hey, listen,
right? So you gotta chunk it along the way. So I'm cool with the 3-hour challenge. Chunk it piece by piece.
Listen, we because we got a great rap, but it's funny. It's funny because as I've gotten older, I realized that cliches are really pinpoint, right? And it was just brick by brick. You just really, it really is brick by brick. The house is built brick by brick.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a process. And you know what's unfortunate? Before we go, what's unfortunate is the telephone really hinders us from understanding that things are processed. Right. Because when you see social media, all everybody show is the dubs, is the wins. That's all they show. Right. They're not showing the process. They're not showing when they was homeless. They're not showing. They'll tell it, but they don't show it.
Right.
They show the car like it's a win, or the restaurant like it's a win, or the material item like it's a win.
Right.
There was a process.
Absolutely.
Working out, you see somebody's body and it chiseled. That was a process. You know what I mean? And you got to be able to really be dedicated and
trust it.
Be able to stick to process.
And trust it. Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Yeah. And don't be in control of it, because sometimes we try to control the process. Right.
Dr. Shanna, you are amazing.
Thank you guys so much again for having me. I enjoy just the dialogue and conversation. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I just want to make sure you know, we give some food here, you know. We and hopefully got some food from us. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Got a lot from her today.
And you know, we gave you some food, you gave us some food, and we gave you know, that person watching food as well. So
yes,
that's the point.
How can people follow you?
Yes, absolutely. So you can follow Dr. Shanna on Facebook at Dr. Shanna V Coaching. You can follow me on Dr. Shanna Van Ness Ankrum. That's my Facebook page, or Instagram at Dr. SB Van Ness, and simply my website, www.drshannav.com.
Awesome. I feel bad. So let me apologize, because I've been calling you Shauna the entire night and you did not correct me. And I correct everybody about my name. So Dr. Shanna, I apologize, because I can't do to you what I don't like done to me. So if you notice, as soon as you said it, we both went like this. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm like, and I think I said it maybe once in here, and I'm like, nah, maybe she didn't catch it.
So I apologize, because I am a stickler when it comes to my name.
Yes.
But that will not happen again. Jay, give me a final thought.
No, thank you so much. Please keep all negative people out your circle. You accumulate the thoughts, the mindset of the people around you. So make sure your circle is you know, surrounded with people that you want to make sure that is around you. You just can't help it. So, you know, other than that, please have an amazing week. Doc, thank you so much for being a part of the platform, this podcast. We appreciate it. And we are sorry that I'm not playing, you know, because she is a stickler about her name. So we thank you so much, though.
Yes, absolutely. You're welcome.
And I mean, you know, that's it. Super Bowl Sunday, this Sunday. We're looking forward to that. If you in the, you know, up here. I mean, up in
The Rams is gonna.
I don't know. I ain't did enough.
They're not gonna let Cincinnati come to their home and beat them.
We know somebody going to the game too.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Until next week, we shall see you later. Love Business on Lock. Doc, we will talk to you.
Yes.
And now.